Caner universe, all those new to the channel, to the culture. Quick reminder, if this is your first time here, check this out first. If you like it, then make sure to subscribe so you never miss anything. Today, a little bit different. Let's tilt this up here a little bit. I am going to dedicate this one to members of Cane Tribe. For those of you that are not familiar with Cane Tribe is where the advanced curriculum begins. And so you can't jump into that program or that group. It's delivered online. You have to start off at that leader level, the Cane at Home 6-week challenge. I'll mention that again. But it seems like we got to do something for the advanced guys. So if you're here for the first time, I don't want you to look at this and go, boy, that looks kind of involved. I'm just starting off. I'm a beginner. It gives you an idea of a little bit of the potential of drilling, but always know that there is a structure. There's a foundation where we go to first. So here is a drill, and we'll show you the application as well. And again, this is intended for those of you in Cane Tribe and what you've been working on. And you know, if you're new to what we do, a lot of times you'll see we're known for our maneuverability and in particular for our CaneFlows. And you look at that and people say, boy, that's cool, but where's the application in that? Well, it really is all application, developing kinesthetic sense, neuromuscular coordination, so on and so forth. So I'm going to take something that you see us do a lot here. I've explained many times that this side-to-side movement and taking your hips and moving side to side here is all about self-defense. I'm not going to go into the specifics as to why that is, but this side to side movement here is all about self-defense. And I'll show you a drill. For instance, if you've been working on this type of maneuverability where you're doing a reverse, a PS3, Power Shot 3 off of a reverse grip, we have the transitioning down here, coming down with your number 5. And then we're going to add, coming up, this reverse grip number 2. And our reverse grip number 2 is a little bit different, and that's where I want to focus on today. But let me show you, once you have worked with this and you've played around with this type of maneuverability a little bit here, just going side to side, you can bring in targets. Be careful, safety always first, regardless of how it looks here to you. Remember, there's always a foundation. So I'm starting this off in a reverse grip. And so what I want to make sure is that I'm making contact here. I see that this cane, I'm looking at the camera, but I know where it is. And then I have a third target here. I'm going to ask her to hold it a little bit higher here with a pad. And she's using, so the idea is that I should be able to make contact and notice that I have this hip to hip. And as you get closer, more familiar with this in doing it, then you should be able to, and you're going to ask them to move it and try to move it back, because what happens is when I hit here, now it moves off to the side. And I want to stay in my guard zone. My guard zone is this here. So I'm moving away here from making the transition to come down, sorry about that, and coming right back here. Let me show you something. I'm having her hold a pad. The smaller the pad, put it right in your face so you can see it. The smaller the pad, the more difficult, right, to be very precise in hitting that. And of course, you wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it here, looking away from. You can look at it. I want you to start off looking at the target. Hold it. Use a bigger pad, right, to make sure you're not. And so let me show you the application. This is obvious, and I've demoed this before. You're in a reverse grip, so back off, somebody's going to move. You don't have, again, the luxury of always being able to pick up the cane. It's reclined, and you go to pick it up. Well, what if you pick it up like this? What if it falls? Lose weapon decision. Boom, you have to pick it up. Boom, and come back. So I'm not going to focus on that. That's a reverse grip. There's value in that. You see it. The 5, well, something's coming at you. Right, we're familiar with this type of coming down. It's that number 2 reverse grip that is not very common. And let me show you, I want to show you the application in that. And given that we don't really have this palm up, this puts a lot of pressure on the wrist. And so our Power Shot template, we tested that very early on. And when they hit here, we decided not to go with that. Change the grip on that and go here, right off of a reverse grip, and you'll see what that's gonna feel like. Just like when you're doing a cane bump, and you're gonna move from there. So what you'd be doing now, if you would just hold the pad so that they can hear, I can do this 2 ways and just bring it down lower, because where you're targeting, it's the strike that your assailant cannot see. That's an effective strike, the one he can't stop. Lower it, because I'm coming to the shins. And so if you would just hold it the long way there on one, move in a little bit and then tilt that camera down. I want him to see something. It's essentially a 2-way movement. I'm either gonna go in here and strike, boom, or I'm gonna go in here and strike. And you can bring in good power either way that you do this, okay? Always pattern. Matter of fact, I'm gonna switch this for a drone, if you will, because he's my friend, right? You know what I always say, you want him to come back and play. So I'll give you applications on that too. The first one, if you just move in here, is this roundhouse punch that's coming out here. You don't want to be there. That's not where you want to be. And so we have the ability, I'm going to show you 2 ways. Remember, keep in mind, we always have 2 movements, right? It's not enough to do this. It's not enough. We don't do this. I know you see that. That's not, whoa, did you see how I almost curled around and got there? Even this, right? Last resort. There's a way of doing that, but always move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cover hand as for a triangle, and at the same time, back off, boom, there goes the shin. Were you okay with that? Right? So you have to have the control. Even with a padded drone, it leaves a mark. So I'm going to do this very slow and see if you can kind of move in here just a tad. Notice that I do this. Hey, if I can come all the way down and I have the capability of squatting down, that's phenomenal. But what I'm going to do here as well is bring the hand over to let that glide in a triangle. Triangle's this. It deviates the punch. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and take it. And now here's the transition. Bring that back up so you can see what we're doing. No, bring it back up, Vanessa. Bring it up. So stop, stop, stop. 1, 2. Remember the drill you were doing here? And how you're going to have to transition. Look at the hip. Hey, I don't want to. Back off! Boom. Here it is, right? Or even transitioning to the other hand. Here it comes. 1, 2, or follow that up with a number 5. This is all started by this number 2 that comes up. This is a number 2. Look at the direction of the cane. Tilt that down. It comes up. If I were to switch my hand drivers, what number is this? That's a number 2, right? I'm not going here. That would make it a 3. No, I'm going up in a diagonal angle. You'll see that it works phenomenally with the biomechanics and the ergonomics of that grip, right? So that you can go through there and then come back with your either your 1 or transition over to your 5. That would be one application. Another one is it works just as well to the other side. So that if I'm talking here and I say, man, I don't want any trouble, when he comes in, boom, you're taking that leg. So tilt the camera down and step in with the other. Yeah, so he comes in. I moved in here. Now you have the horn and that reverse grip that's pointing at an angle. And now you can use this as, well, essentially like brass knuckles, right? And go from here. But don't miss the initial move. The initial move is here as, and there's that hip movement again, right? And how this starts training you and comes into play when you're doing this over and over. So the next time that you see our caners in a CaneFlow, you have an idea that, keep in mind, everything there is application, has an application, self-defense application. I'm going to switch to show you the last application. Those of you that are familiar with what we call SERBs, SSRBS is a stab, shuffle, right? So it looks like this, that kind of movement. So you've been doing figure 8s and you move in here. So you have a stab, you have a shuffle roof block, and a strike. You see that shuffle's there. Well, that shuffle comes into play, and I'm going to show you how it comes into play with this too. We're going to go very slow here, right? So we can make it safe. But you've been dealing with this fellow. No, I'm good here. I won't need that. Just the tilting of the camera when I ask for it. Thank you. And so you're dealing here. And guys, sometimes this is ideal for when you're dealing up here. Because most of the time, boy, if it starts from here, a lot of verbal stuff, unless there's a car in between or something like that, they're going to get right up and here, this is it. I don't have enough room. I don't have a lot of room. So when he does this, I'll show you one time. Let me get it from this angle, and then I'll break it down. But we're dealing here. I make the move. I make the transition. He comes down. Point it down, Vanessa, because he couldn't see anything there of what happened. Point right back down here. Right, okay, bring that back up. And let me show you what just happened there. Let me show you what just took place. So we're going to go, you're right with that? Oh, okay. So I'm dealing here. As that punch comes, I'm going to go ahead and deflect that. And there's my shuffle. There's my initial move. My initial move is here. It's followed by that low 2, and I'm going to plant the 2 because here's what happens. Think when you're walking and you hit something on a ledge or somebody trips you, you do this, and it takes a second. If you get whacked here, even before you do this, if it's at this angle, look at how high up it is, your brain has to figure to get that foot and take it over, right? You don't typically do this and then, no, boom, you got hit, you have this. You have a split second to plant that cane. Now watch what I do. As he comes in, go ahead and point down. I do this. What am I doing here? I'm stepping on that foot. Now guys, you have to, I'm going to switch the angle so that he doesn't fall into anything. If you're doing this with a partner, when you're doing this, you have to back off as he's coming down because you can damage the ligaments. You're going to use that cane as a triangulation point. Boom, there's a strike. Keep pushing. And your head keeps going forward so that your head doesn't get hit. So when I do this, say, hey, I don't want any trouble. And you do this, you do the strike, plant, continue going forward. Right? So that this is not here. You're still protecting the computer. Because if you get hit in the head, then you're disoriented. And, right, then you can't be as effective. They can do whatever they want. So it's just all that coming from this type of application so that now tribers, you know what you're working on, right? It gives you a different perspective. Right? And so guys, those of you that are coming in for the first time and say, I hadn't seen it like that. Well, you know, it's a new day. It's a new day, and a new day deserves a newer and better way. And we believe we have that here. And if you want to have a conversation as to where this starts, again, if you're seeing this for the first time and you say, gosh, how do I get involved? Before you can get up to any of this, there is a structure. You start off step by step. Go ahead and text the letters, text CCC, right, for Cane Clarity Call to 305-745-7839. Our team will schedule you in less than 24 hours, and we will have a conversation on all matters having to do with cane self-defense, cane training. And more importantly, you'll walk out with something on paper, written blueprint that'll show you exactly how to get started and every time you pick up the cane, what to do so that you don't waste time with missionless training out there. All right? As always, please, if you have any questions, my staff and I are here to serve. Thank you for your time today. Keep caning and stay safe.